This video should help with some tips for the fan car lab activity. This lab was completed during the Newton's Laws unit, so you should be keeping in mind Newton's 3 laws this whole time, because those will be helpful in explaining a lot about each of these questions and kind of the basics of the physics underlining this whole activity. So in this first question here, we're talking about just kind of why the car moves, right? In the first little mini experiment, we were just playing with the car and watching it roll back and forth across the track because of the fan. So an answer to this question cannot just say because of the fan, right? We know that, yes, the fan is what is propelling it across the track. So you don't want to just say that, right? I'm going to put an X on both sides of that because, sure, that is the impetus. That's the reason that it starts moving. We want to actually explain the science behind it. So something that I'm going to call your attention to again and again in these questions are the air molecules. So think about what's happening with the air molecules, and again, relate it back to Newton's laws. We want to always be explaining the science. So for question 2, this is after we started with the car with no mass on it. Then we added those silver hexagonal weights onto either side of the car and started to weight the car down. So as the car gets heavier, we know that it goes slower, right? We should probably say that, right? Talk about what the results were. But then we need to, once again, explain why. And what are we going to relate it back to? Newton's laws. When we're on question 3, we're talking about what happened when we added the shield to the fan car, that black shield. And what we found is that the car went in different directions. So we want to talk about why does it move in an opposite direction. So when we're thinking about this, it might be helpful to draw a picture. You can draw a picture in your answer and then explain it. But at the very least, you might want to draw a picture in your space so that you can start to visualize what's going on with those air molecules. In question 4, we've had the car go up an incline and down an incline. And of course, it went faster when it moved down the incline. So you want to think about why that is happening. Don't just say that, oh, it moves faster, because you're going downhill. Well, what is it about going downhill or going uphill that makes something harder? Right? What has changed? Why harder to go uphill? Right. In question 5, we're doing a drawing. So we're doing a before and after diagram of the fan car as it moves along the track with the shield and without the shield. We need to label the action and reaction forces. So this essentially is a 2-part drawing. 1, without the shield, normally moving. 2, with the shield. Both of those drawings should have an action force and a reaction force labeled. You should also, once again, I'm calling your attention to the air molecules, right? And you should be labeling or drawing those air molecules and how those are interacting with the car, with the fan, and with the shield. The more details you have in there to actually show why this car is moving, the better. Question number 5 is therefore obviously related to question number 3. Right? This question and question number 5 are related. So it might be good to be doing those at the same time, or start to sketch out some drawings to question 5 before you answer question 3. Finally, you should make a graph of one of the preceding data sets. So there are 1, 2, 3 data sets that you can choose from. So in your group, you should talk to your lab partners about who is going to graph which data set. You and your lab partner cannot graph the same data set. I want you each to graph a different data set. You only need to do one, but you can't do the same one. Remember that any good graph will have a descriptive title, will have X and Y axes labels, and will have X and Y axes units. Make sure that both the X and Y axis has both of those things in terms of labels and units, right? So if you ever get a graph back and I've circled something here or circled something here or circled something here, means you're missing something on the x-axis or on the y-axis or in your title, right? So refer to these instructions here. A descriptive title, we need labels and units. So another word for label is an x and y axis title, right? You need to have a title of your y-axis and what units you're doing measurements in. When we're turning this in, the OneNote page that you have here is just for you, right? I'm not going to look at the notes that you've taken on your OneNote page. You will then have the Word document, and you should type your answers into that Word document. That Word document will eventually be uploaded, just like always, uploaded to a new OneNote page in your Labs tab, and it should be titled last name underscore fan car lab, right? So your lab report will be done directly in this document, right? You'll download the Word document, and you'll type your answer directly under question 1. You'll type your answer directly under question 2, under question 3. You should also remember to input your data, and then where it says graph, you should copy and paste from Excel your graph into here. For the drawing, if you want to, once you insert the lab report into OneNote and then do the drawing, with the Surface Pen, you can do that. If you also want to do it on paper, take a picture with your phone and then directly put that into the Word document before putting it into OneNote. Either one of those options is fine. But remember that the Word document that you upload to OneNote should have your data, should have the answers to the question, it should have the drawing, and it should have the graph. Right? All of those things are requirements that end up in that Word document that's uploaded into the OneNote page in the Labs tab and titled exactly this. Remember, we are not copying and pasting, but we are inserting the Word document. We are not copying and pasting the writing, because that will mess up the formatting, the graph won't copy over, none of it will work. So we always want to insert it. If you're confused on how to insert, see a friend or come ask me.